To do what it is your OG partner Idala. I can tell you hip hop. I don't know pop. I don't know pop rap. I don't know Canadian rap. I don't know Canadian R&B because that ain't our R&B. But to get a real take on Drake, it takes somebody who actually followed Drake to kind of give you a little insight on what we will never know. So this is Geeked About Us, and he's about to tell you about how Drake predicted his downfall.
There's this Drake lyric that's been on my mind for about a month now. I'd probably self-destruct if I ever lose. This one line perfectly sums up Drake's current situation. I genuinely believe that all of this, not just the lawsuit, but his eventual self-destruction, was a part of Kendrick's plan. Kendrick didn't just want to beat Drake in a rap battle. He wanted to plant
48 laws of power tell you
to make his words
shut the motherfucker down. You don't play with him.
But what's truly unsettling to me is how Drake predicted his own downfall through his music and interviews over the years.
Like I said, I never...
It's gotta be something that everyone that he's with and him have to hear. You can't do some shit that's just for the moment and then it goes away.
Kendrick knew that if he was going to take Drake down, the victory had to be unanimous. Drake had to feel defeated with no room for excuses. After his loss to Pusha T in 2018, he still made excuses for what had happened.
I'm pretty sure somewhere in there he's going to get to this point. I know I'm probably jumping ahead. I ain't watched this shit. Somewhere in there Drake said on Control that if he really meant it, if he really was about it, then he will respect it. So does Drake respect Kendrick now after he done put that squabble up on him? What he say? He beat them feet.
First quote unquote, loss in the competitive sport of rapping. By choice, obviously, because I bowed out after realizing like the gap between us. I sleep well at night knowing I didn't get outbarred and I didn't get, dunned off by some crazy song that I just realized that like nobody cares about this guy. Now, when you mention defenseless people who are sick in the hospital that passed away, that really sent me to a place where, I wanted to do other things. I didn't want to further your reputation or your career by rapping back at you. And
for Kendrick
so
to really
right
get
there,
the
he already
had
knows
to beat Drake at his own game with the things he values most.
I didn't say that
and
TIC
not
age
like
yet.
us. The power of
I don't think I'm
Not
at 2
Like Us
minutes
isn't
yet.
in
3
the
minutes.
damning allegations it makes. The real power comes from Kendrick flipping the script on Drake. Aubrey the hitmaker. He prides himself in being a chart-topping artist, not just a rapper for real hip-hop heads. Whether it was his beef with Common or Meek Mill, he aimed to attack them with records that couldn't be ignored. In a 2012 interview, he explained his approach to his diss track against Common, saying, "First of all, I made sure it would run in the club because that's more painful than anything. I wanted to be on a record that you would
And for the record, it was Boss Arena.
have to stand around and hear every night for a few months. It was the same thing with Back to Back as well." In a Fader interview, he said this about that record: "This has to become the song that people want to hear every single night."
Because he got the girl that Drake been around all the time. Pardon me. And she wanted Meek.
it's got to be something that everyone that he's with and him have to hear.
Can't ignore it, right? Yeah.
You can't do some shit that's just for the moment and then it goes away.
Yeah.
My theory is Kendrick studied Drake. He read these interviews, and he knew the best way to truly beat him was to do exactly what Drake would do. Create a club anthem, a track that couldn't be ignored, and make sure it stung. And it worked. Drake and his team couldn't escape it. You could see how deeply it affected them.
OVO 40 threatened Cypher Sounds?
Yeah.
Over Not Like Us playing during a comedy show?
I get a DM from 40. He said, "How about I go to your city and play a song where someone calls you a pedophile? When I see you, I'm gonna smack you in the mouth."
Drake bans Kendrick
With security. You're not gonna put your hands on nobody. You the one that he bowed up. Man, come on, man. Y'all play tough. Y'all play lawyer tough. You gonna slap him with a lawsuit player? That's what you mean.
Lamar is not like us. Either directly or indirectly. Yeah, they're saying that there's been some DJs in Houston, Texas that were asked not to play the record.
Yeah. I think it ended with Not Like Us, man. It's shit banging.
He probably got unfollowed right after that.
Close friend
I mean,
says
like
that this track
immediately.
that is aimed at you is banging. That's when you know it's undeniable. I bet Drake was furious when he saw that clip because Yachty deleted it with the quickness.
How hard was that
Delete.
for you? Like, you're being pulled in different directions. You want to be loyal.
I just wish I had never spoke on it. That's the only thing that, like, that was the only part. I wish I just hadn't said anything about it.
Welcome to Hollywood. Don't let this town ruin you. One major focus from Kendrick was the kind of man that Drake is. The reason it hits so hard is that in many ways, current Drake is the man his younger self swore he would never become. For example,
We
Drake
remember
used to
this,
speak about
player.
his father in interviews.
We remember this,
explaining
player.
how his dad wasn't a role model, but more of an example of what not to be. He often talked about the negative impact his father's absence had on him and his mother, and how it made him vow to build a better family dynamic.
This is my dad. I don't get to see you that often, but you know, my love is always with you.
His
Hurt
parents
people,
separated when he was
player.
5, and he promised he
That's
would
why
never
he
put
always
his
talking
own
about
child
somebody
in that
woman.
position.
I was really hard on my parents for giving me sort of a child
to put the
that I
blunt
had to
down,
wrap my
man.
mind around. You know, as I grew, I multiple times sort of suggested that they could have done a better job of
Entitlement.
going
Entitlement.
and sticking together.
In the 13 interview, he said he didn't want to end up like his father, a womanizer who goes around hurting women. But in 2018, Drake had a
With that.
son, and through his lyrics, we saw how much it hurt him that he hadn't built the family unit he always wanted. He had ended up a single father, and the womanizer he feared becoming.
As life takes shape and teaches you your own lessons, I end up in a situation, you know, where I don't have the fairy tale like, oh, Drake started a family with Rihanna, and like this is his whole thing. By the way, I wanted that too.
Come on, man. See? He want the fairy tale relationship, but then he want to go mess with XXXXXX stars. Come on, player. You can't want. They say, I'm old school. Don't turn a hoe into a housewife. Yada da.
His frustration with this situation is evident in the song March 11th.
Single father, I hate when I hear. I used to challenge my parents on every album. Now I'm embarrassed and tell them I ended up as a co-parent. Always promised a family unit. I wanted it to be different because I've been through it.
I am a single father learning to communicate with a woman who, you know, we've had our moments, right? I mean, and I do want to be able to explain to my son what happened.
It's sad because Drake really wanted to do better than his parents, to make it work. But now, he's become the man who constantly targets other men's marriages and families. On one hand, he writes lyrics about how marriage looks miserable. On the other, he has songs where he sings about longing for a true connection, a soulmate he feels may no longer be in the cards for him. This is the...
This man got a chain. A full chain. With all the engagement rings that he took back or they gave back or didn't accept. Somebody to love this boy.
perfect ammunition for Kendrick. He calls him out for trying to destroy people's families instead of taking care of his own. Words like this are bound to hit hard because it highlights Drake's internal struggle. Why is that the first thing he pulls out of his bag of tricks, targeting other people's relationships?
Don't speak on nobody from my family, nothing that could be even mentioned with my wife. But when you played that record for me in the studio that said, yo, we got some Kylies, we got some Kendalls, I told you, Travis is your man. Don't make no record like that. That man just had a baby with her. That's gonna be offensive.
Why would you mention my fiance? Like, no women, no children. What's up? Like, what we doing? Wait a minute. Like, what is the real issue with you in marriage? Now I gotta dig in and see, what are y'all like? What's your family like? Oh, your dad left you at 5. Oh, I get that. He never walked you to the bus stop. You're mad about this. You know, your mom, she never remarried. You don't even know what, like, family is. So, of course you don't dig marriage.
From Serena Williams and her husband to A$AP Rocky and Rihanna, Pusha T.
That's why she was all on the stage. She deserved that. He deserved to watch his wife get up there and all on her ex, because somewhere in there, her ex brought him into shit, calling him groupies and all this. So, man, Drake is the worst type of guy in the world. He's the water boy. Dang, I just thought about that. Drake is the water boy. His mama done turned him against every woman in the world. Only woman oh shit. Diddy mama. Let me get off that. This ain't even what I'm talking about. Let me get back on what I was talking about.
Kendrick, and many others. No matter how much Drake criticizes the institution of marriage, it's something he's always wanted, but hasn't been able to make happen. Grown man liars, storytellers, they don't even need a campfire. I've been a huge Drake fan since 2011.
That's what I told you.
There's a big difference between that.
These are the ones that give you the great insight on Drake, because they listen to this nigga music, they see him evolve, and then go backwards. It's a persona.
He adopted this Michael Corleone persona. Drake looked down on rappers who lied about their street lives. Maybe because I had friends who grew up in the hood, I could have acted like I had too, and pretended to live that lifestyle. But that wouldn't be the truth.
But you've also said that one of the biggest misconceptions about you is that any part of you wants to be gangster or hood.
I mean, yeah, I stand by that quote.
Yeah.
To be something you're not, and to be that specifically. You know, listening to people rap about, you know, killings and drugs and all that stuff, like.
Mob ties, Six Boss. Give me a hug. You a thug. Now? Man, come on, Drake.
It's just,
you fake.
I'm always like, when I'm writing a rap, I'm like, man, if I could just throw a gun bar in here, this thing would be done. And I feel that way, you know. Sometimes it's just such an easy scapegoat. Like, you know, I can't rap about that. You know, you have to understand when I'm finishing these albums, remember, there's a lot of things that are off limits to me. And it's not because someone told me they're off limits to me. I just make them off limits to myself because I'm not going to step out of my character just to...
He a clone. That's what it is. He's the clone Tyrone. The clone Fake. The clone Drake. This ain't the same person. Come on, Playboy. This ain't. Come on, Playboy.
Finish your record.
It goes without saying that Drake didn't have it easy. He was constantly ridiculed for being soft and goofy. He literally got peed on. So many rappers he once admired disrespected him.
Adonis. Don't never let nobody pee on you. Whatever he said, see, man, come on, bro.
Puff put hands on him. Then came the big meal beef, with P and Jay-Z pulling strings behind the scenes. He raps about it on Do Not Disturb. He saw a side of himself he didn't recognize. A side that was defensive, confrontational, and angry.
Ain't never been in a confrontation in his life.
And that's when we got Mob Ties Drake. This mafioso persona that we all knew wasn't really him. But we rode with it because we loved Aubrey.
I was having trouble.
Oh, he called him Aubrey.
Figuring myself out in rap.
These are your fans, Blair.
I was a very defensive individual, you know, just coming off the situations that I had come off of. And I was, 40 is always very bluntly honest with me. And he'd be like, man, you sound like aggressive or defensive.
He was tired of being disrespected and being treated like a pushover. He always spoke about it in interviews, always trying to show
he got the BBL.
Soft. So fast forward to now,
BBL Drizzy.
Fake image. It was obviously
BBL Drizzy.
Character. I have no doubt Drake has friends who've done their part in handling business for him. I've spoken about this in an older video, but there's a big difference between knowing people who get things done and actually getting your own hands dirty. And when someone calls you out and you know deep down you don't have the proof to back up your tough talk, it is going to eat at you.
Bye yet. I'm on a mission today. I'm knocking out. I was not supposed to have did I wasn't supposed to have did the corner. Man, Cornerstone art, man, y'all silly as a fool. So I wasn't even supposed to have did that one. So I'm about to get to the part 2 of Fake. Beep yeah, beep yeah, beep yeah.